Darren, is this you showing your face to, pretend to be the host or?
No, I'm comparing that young-looking figure that's up on the screen now with this guy that's a little weathered after doing Reach for 18 plus years. That was a young me. Okay, that was when I just started the company, or we just co-founded it. So that guy looks good. This guy's a little tired, I have to be honest.
So many jokes I could say there, but I'll keep it to myself. I'll just give a minute here and then we'll get going. Let people continue to jump on. All right. Well, let's do it. Let's start this off. So hi everyone. Welcome to our 2024 live webinar. It's crazy to think that here we are, right, in another year. However, we have a lot of, cool and new and exciting stuff to sort of talk about today. So for those who do not know me, by the way, my name is Michelle Javanis, and I am the product manager over here at Reach. To keep the structure just kind of the same as far as like the last couple live webinars, everyone is muted, so I'm sorry if you have any comments or anything that you want to say, but everyone is muted just to kind of keep the flow going. If you have any questions, by the way, as the presenters, take their turn sort of presenting, please put all of your questions into the chat box, which is loaded into the top part here of the Teams. Our Director of Clients Relationship, Tristan Helene, is going to sort of take care of all those sort of questions that you guys have. And at the end of the webinar, we'll make sure that we sort of address them. Another sort of call out too, just before we begin here, is the last couple live webinars. I know people have like raised their hand. Unfortunately, just to kind of, again, keep the momentum going, to utilize the full hour, we're not going to really call on anybody. So again, try to just put every question that you have within that little chat box. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, our first sort of agenda here is going to be Darren Rosinski, who is our CEO. He was the weird one just standing there showing his screen. He's really going to talk about the recap for 2023 and what's to come in 2024. Then our second presenter is going to be Nathan Davis, who is our CTO. He's really going to talk about sort of some key IT initiatives. And then we'll scoot over to Kiersten Gibson, who is our EVP of Sales and Marketing. She's really going to talk about the tips and tricks to get the most out of your digital signage. And then, of course, we'll end with me, the last one. I'm sorry you're stuck with me today. We'll really give you that update of the CMS 2.0 and sort of where we are with that. And then, of course, the last and final are going to be the Q&A for our clients. So, Darren, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you now if you want to sort of take your sort of part on the presentation.
Sure. All right. I also think it's great. Number one, welcome and thank you guys, everyone, for joining in today. I think it's great that Michelle, who is sat next to Tristan Helene for 12 plus years, screws up her name in the introduction. So just FYI, Tristan, I'll get your pronunciation right. Moving on. Again, I want to thank, this is actually our third time that we've done the live webinar. And it's really, really fun for me and the entire team to kind of share what we're up to and the different projects that we have going on. See, Michelle, is that switching to the next slide? There we go. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about just kind of where we were and what we have going forward, and a little bit just about our journey in general. And I think about it from really 2022, the start of 2022 to today, because I really think it's been transformational at Reach. We've really been on a journey to look at all aspects of our company and really thinking about how we're meeting the needs of our existing clients today, and then how we're supporting the thousands of new clients that are coming on each year. So just as a business and sort of thinking about, where we want to go with the company and the things we want to do. You guys may have heard this before, but more growth can equal definitely more problems if you don't adjust. And I think we felt that a little bit as we've continued to grow. And again, thank you guys for being our long-term partners and all the stuff that we've done over the years. But we sometimes have to look in the mirror and say, are we actually meeting the needs, and are we improving, and are we doing the best things that can enable our customers to communicate and engage with their clients with our digital signage and other applications. So at the beginning of 2022, we sort of just, all right, said, let's just hit the pause button. We're doing lots of great things, but I don't know if we were solving a lot of customer problems, to be quite honest. So the first thing that we did in 2022 is we just tried to simplify, like, hey, what are we doing and how are we doing it? And if we do have applications out there, we need to fix and stabilize them. Reach is somewhat infamous for getting projects to 80% done or 90% done and not quite getting them over the goal line in terms of really the last part, which is educating people on how they actually work. Did they meet the need? So that was the third thing of just be purposeful and educate. And that's be purposeful is like what essential problem are we trying to solve for our clients? Are we getting their feedback along the way? And then once we do solve that problem, are we educating and training them so they know how to do it themselves and or at least know that it's out there? So that's really been the mantra for us as a high level of just our guiding principle since 2022. Fix or simplify, fix and stabilize, and be purposeful. When you start thinking about those three, they're kind of really simple, but if you really think about those, it really leads to a lot of projects and a lot of initiatives and a lot of things you do from a company standpoint to make sure that you're keeping your customers happy and they're growing and excited about where Reach is going as well. So one of the things that to accomplish that, we really, from a product standpoint, we completely have rebuilt and continue to rebuild our entire CMS. And we're actually changing the way in which we've engaged our clients to make sure they're meeting the needs. And so, as Michelle mentioned, she's the product manager, and she's done a great job, and the team's done a great job of actually gathering customer requirements and using our UX UI team to really pull in what people are asking for and make sure we're meeting their needs in our application before we actually build it out. And so we've changed our entire process. We've done a lot of things differently. By the way, Michelle has lots of beta user groups and other groups that if you want to weigh in, I think I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but you can ping her directly. And she will get you into these groups if you want to see what applications are coming or weigh in on what you guys think we should be doing. She keeps a log of everything, and it's really a great thing to have so we can see, are a lot of customers asking for this, and if so, are we meeting these needs? So that's for the first two. And the last one is we internally at Reach looked at every process we have in terms of how we support our customers, from support to customer success to sales to IT to operate, really everything, and says, are we adding enough value to the client? And if not, or if we are, is there a way to actually do it better? Can we make our billing more simple? Can we be more clear on what we're looking for from our customer reviews? Are we getting our surveys done quickly and getting that customer feedback? And when we get customer feedback, are we acting on it? So from 2022, this has really been an exciting time at Reach. I only put this as a personal note because I've never been more energized and passionate. It's one thing to build a company. It's another thing to try and scale the company and do it in a way in which your clients are moving great because we have a 97% renewal rate. So we love you guys. We appreciate it, but we want to do even better. So I just sort of share with our journey kind of what we're doing as sort of the backdrop of this entire webinar. Michelle, I'm clicking, but there we go. So just in 22 to 23, the progress we've been making. So I'm gonna actually start on the right with the process pieces. I talked a little bit about this, but we looked at all area of the process within the company. Can we make them more efficient? And again, this is continuous. So the way we look at it in terms of we were making positive changes, but can we continue to do them? We've improved our software lifecycle development, tiered support, so we actually get to people faster, and we do it in a way that's more engaging. The bug escalation, so if we do have a problem, what we want to do is make sure that you're communicated to and understand where it is within the process as well. Training videos, constant communication. Obviously, we're having more and more webinars. And also that Kiersten is sending out stuff through the communication pipeline. And believe it or not, we actually do have a product roadmap, which we'll be happy to share. It's very detailed, but gets a lens on where we're going, not only through 2024, but the upcoming projects. The product side, again, you're going to hear more about this, but this is our big CMS 2.0. It's a complete rewrite in a different, it's called React language, which is more scalable. It gives us a lot more flexibility. We're receiving a lot of positive feedback on it as well. And that actually launched sort of back in August as a soft launch. We have the official launch coming up in late April and early May, but it's going to be a really exciting thing. We created a new private label DS3 player at a really, really good price point. And really what we're doing is trying to basically give you guys a value. We don't charge for them. We don't make any money on it, but we really want to help with your deployment of players if you need to replace them or easily get your signage up and running as well. And then just the team, you need great people. Reach has always been built on one thing, and that's really the great people. We've added a lot of new team members. One thing that was really just core to us is gaining the knowledge, understanding client goals, and making sure we're meeting those goals. And then obviously we think about terms of supporting things short-term and long-term are just fundamental to Reach. And obviously we wanted to do more accountability, growth, and goal setting internally as well, so people knew where they were in the company, how they can continue to improve as well. I will say this response thing is a little slow, Michelle, just for on other slides. I don't know if it makes sense to have you run it or not, but It's a side note. Anyway, this is the last slide, or actually I have 2 more slides, but just a little bit on what's in 2024 and beyond. I talked a little bit about the new CMS 2.0. It's launching in late April. Just the expectations as well. It's going to meet 95% of your sort of daily publishing and managing of content needs. Lots of other functionalities coming. We wanted to get something out there. Michelle talked a little bit more about this, but again, this is a huge rewrite. We spent over $3 million on it. We've added lots of resources on it. It's really, really an exciting time. And we've, again, looked at all the customer feedback and tried to reach those, meet those needs as well. Clients can opt into the new system when they're ready, or they can stay on the existing one. I go back and forth on the new teams. Quite honestly, if you have the new teams, some people like it, some people struggle with it. I haven't quite opted into it yet, but I'm comfortable, and we'll get there when we get there. So we want to give that flexibility to our customers. And then the customer, as I mentioned, we have the beta groups and the feedback groups. You're welcome to join. Ping Michelle or Kiersten, and she'll get you set up with that. The customer success teams, I hope you guys feel this, and I hope this is a real core value of Reach, because it certainly is. We really want to continue to improve our support. We feel like our support's really strong, but we can always get it better. And it is a #1 priority at Reach. And just as evidence of that, I am still to this day on the support chat. And I always want to know what's on sort of my side of my teams, what's happening on the support side, how we can do it better. We hired a new customer success director to oversee those teams last year in January. He's done a nice job. We continue to improve and improve and improve. And that's a huge priority, as is our security. So we're going to be SOC 2 certified. We're going through this process. It's a longer process, as people know, but we really want to get this thing done in a timely fashion and continue to improve our overall security. Nate will give you sort of more details on that, but it's an important note just so people understand that is key to kind of the things that we have going on in 2024. One more slide for me. Maybe Michelle, maybe help me out.
Okay, yeah, I kind of wanted to just see you sweat a little bit, to be honest.
Why would I sweat? I'm a calm customer, right? When you have a great team, you don't sweat, Michelle, okay? Oh, nice. She made a comment, like almost giving me a rude gesture, but I'm going to move on. Oh, got it. So again, we've released this DS3 player. I'm super excited about it. We partnered with Azul on it, and then they've really kind of helped build our backend with it and the platform. So it's a great, reputable player. We're really excited about it. We've tried to drive the cost down to as low as we could. It's a great for, again, people replacing players or just coming onto the Signage. It's robust. It's a great player. It's small. It's whatever, we really looked at optimizing that, and we're excited to share that with people as well. We also include a 3-year warranty for, I think, $39. So we want to make sure hot swap warranty people have it covered if they want to go that route. We partner with BrightSign, is still our premier partner in terms of players. We're actually spending a lot of time and effort this year in working on custom integrations and capabilities with the new BrightSign Series 5. We actually have a new CX video wall thing that they're working on that we're going to be deploying. It's really cool. So if you have a video wall you're thinking about for 4 screens, they have a good option there. And then we're just adding more training and onboarding. So we're actually working with a company called Intercom, who's going to help with some of that. I'll say that sort of moderated, or those videos, or anything you need to get up to speed quickly and take advantage. Our customer support team and account managers are always here to help as well. So if you want additional training or learn something about the system, they'll jump on. And then it's just more value-added integrations. So in addition to the big platform, we want to add apps and integrations, content feeds that people can subscribe to. Live data is a big thing, and pulling in authenticated iframes for us. We want people to have their live screen or their live data on the screen in any of those feeds. It's a capability that Reach is very, very good at pulling in content. We've done it for years and years. And then we just want to make sure people are taking advantage of our existing stuff as well, like our national weather, emergency alerts, programmatic ad engines that we've built out. So we now built out apps to integrate with Place Exchange, Vistar, Broadsign, just to name a few. And that's sort of a theme that's coming more and more in 2024. We have it for some of our clients today, but we want to continue to add all these different capabilities. So that's it for my part. I just wanted to give you guys a quick overview. Again, tell you how much I appreciate you guys, your partnership. Hopefully you're excited about where we're going with Reach, just from a business standpoint, as we continue to grow the company.
Awesome. Thank you for that. For a while I thought, like being the host was like a privilege, like it was a cool thing to do. And now I'm realizing why you guys have never signed up, because the anxiety, the nerves, they kick in. So yeah, I totally get it. But all right, so our next presenter, you guys, is going to be Nathan Davis. He's really going to talk about our key IT initiatives.
Hi, I'm Nate Davis. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Reach. Today, I'll be talking a little bit about our key initiatives that we worked on over 2023 and kind of where we're at with those, as well as what's in store for 2024. So 2023, sort of in the rear view, we really focused on three core key aspects, which were security, usability, and user experience, as well as stability. So I'm pleased to announce that we've made, great progress across sort of all of those pillars that we focused on in 2023. In Q1 of 2024, we plan on rolling out the Reach Identity and Access Management System, or Reach IAM. What that means is that we'll be standardizing our login process for the Reach platform, as well as this will offer some additional SSO functionality, which has been asked for by our clients. We've also made really good progress at migrating or modernizing our server-side technology stack as well. In 2023, we also implemented a user experience research program, as well as some tools to help us understand platform utilization and what our clients' experiences are like within our platform. And that information has been extraordinarily valuable in terms of helping us to build CMS 2.0 and feel like we've really worked hard at delivering a quality product that everyone's going to love coming up here in 2024. On the stability side of things, we implemented a variety of different error detection and early correction mechanisms to help us identify issues when they occur in our platform and correct them before they become really significant end user impacts. We've also adopted more of a shift left testing mentality, which essentially means that we're testing earlier in the development cycle more often and identifying bugs more frequently before they even make it to production. So in 2024, we have a number of key initiatives, the first of which is the CMS 2.0 launch in April. And Michelle will be talking in more detail about what that launch is going to look like and kind of, what CMS 2.0 is going to look like. But with that initial launch, we're really focusing on core workflows that are used by the majority of our customers. Sort of surrounding that launch process, we're also going to have some pretty intensive hypercare on our tech team to make sure that that launch is really successful and really smooth. We're identifying any kind of gaps that we need to quickly fill, or identifying any issues that clients are running into and fixing those rapidly. Then throughout the rest of 2024, we'll be focusing on improving feature parity between our legacy platform and CMS 2.0 to address some of the more advanced use cases, which won't be included in the initial April launch. Also in 2024, we're going to be focusing on a lot of updates and upgrades to our player software. Key among that is our Windows-based player software. This has really been a stalwart of the Reach tech stack for many, many years and has served us well. However, there's definitely room for improvement, and the software itself needs some modernization as well. So as we're sort of overhauling that aspect of the technical platform here at Reach, we'll really be focusing in on quality and reliability within that component. We're also going to be looking to improve feature parity between our Windows platform and our BrightSign players. So it's our opinion that it shouldn't matter whether you're using BrightSign or Windows. You should have a similar or the same experience in CMS. We'll also be adding some features to our player software. So firstly, we'll be focusing in on content caching, improving that technology, improving the cache space management, improving reporting back to CMS so you can see what kind of space is being used on the device. We'll also be moving towards a cache first methodology versus a cache fallback methodology. So making caching really the priority and making sure that that's working really, really well. We've also identified a number of different use cases around simultaneous playback of two video elements at the same time. So we're going to be focusing some effort around making sure that playback is coordinated and not causing issues with, for example, two audio streams playing back on top of one another at the same time. Just making sure that the videos play back reliably, regardless of which player that you're deploying on. We'll also be improving our support for external content via iframes. In particular, we'll be improving the authentication mechanisms for automated login to third-party services. And then lastly, on the player feature side of things, we'll be adding additional real-time communication. So currently, there are a lot of different kinds of data which get pushed down to the player in real time. But we'll be adding to that, so things like stock prices and social media posts will push down to the player in real time. Our last area of focus in 2024 will be security. Here at Reach, we take security very seriously, and we spent really the last 3+ years really trying to communicate and demonstrate that to our clients. So we felt that 2024, was the year that we start our SOC 2 journey. So for those of you who are not familiar with SOC 2, it's really become sort of the de facto cybersecurity credential for companies like Reach. So really the first half to 3/4 of the year, we're going to be targeting getting that initial assessment done. So that's sort of a point in time snapshot that demonstrates that we have strong, appropriate security controls in place as a company. And then we'll be focusing late 2024 to earlier mid 2025 to get the SOC 2 complete audit and report completed, which demonstrates a compliance with those controls over time. All right, thanks for tuning in here and listening to sort of the key IT initiatives here at Reach for 2024. And I'll hand things off to Kiersten Gibson.
All right, Kiersten, go ahead and take it away on the tips and tricks to get the most out of your digital signage.
Sounds good. I'm just going to request control. Looks like my mic and camera are working, so that's good.
It's always a plus.
So for those that don't know me, I'm Kiersten Gibson. I am our EVP of Sales and Marketing here at Reach. Really today, what I want to focus on, if you attended one of our last webinars, we had talked about, adding value with different use cases. Now I'm going to kind of take it a step further with kind of your existing signage that you have out there and all of these technologies and developments we've done over the years that you may not either be aware of or maybe underutilizing. That's included in your licensing. So let me just see here. I think I have control, Michelle. Is it not going?
Yep. I think it's just a little slow, but let me give you a little boost.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. All right. So the first thing, so there's two parts to it. One being adding value. So it's simple, it's free, and it's easy. So there's 4 different categories I want to focus on here. One being, live applications that we have. Ones that would, as an example, would be easy to add to give your audience a reason to engage to your screens to ultimately see your main messaging. 3, creating FOMO around your signage, and then warn and alert. So one thing I want to note is this isn't the end all be all to what we have out there, but we wanted just to focus on the top 3, 2-3 things that would really maximize your digital signage with Reach. So real-time apps, and when you think about it in the world like live streaming, traffic maps, weather radar, we have a variety of different templates and options within each of these apps. So you'll see kind of on the left-hand side, just some examples there. But with live streaming, for example, we have launched not only, being able to connect with HLS VLC streams, but also, YouTube Live. And a lot of clients aren't aware that we do integrate with Microsoft Teams. So we could be live streaming this webinar right now if we really wanted to. WebEx and Zoom as well. So those are things that are included with your licensing and ways that you can utilize Reach as well. The traffic maps, it's not an additional cost to add into your signage. How people typically think about their signage when they've used traffic maps in the past or some of our automated applications is that they have a separate zone for it. One of the things I really want to relay is that you don't need to, and we'll go through this at the end here, but our timeline options and adding in some of those automated apps can really add more value to what you have out there, especially if you only have a couple active saved messages or information scheduled at any given time. Saving weather radar for last here, because we just came out with a new weather radar app. And one thing we wanted to note is that it is included now. It's not an additional cost. So it's free for you guys to use. If you are interested in adding it to your digital signage, reach out to your account manager. They can definitely get that added in for you and give you access to add in to future layouts. There's a variety of different types, as you can see. And on the right-hand side here, you'll see all the options as well. So there are more options than our previous weather app that we had out there. So automate and replicate. So One of the things is, if it's entertaining or, it's going along with the season, people are more likely to engage with your screens. So we started doing this, I believe at the end of last year, offering free, content playlists that are pre-built with just some simple messaging, could be 10 to 20 assets in there, and basically subscribing to those playlists. So on the previous slide where you saw the kind of the timeline with the weather radar, this is something that we can just add in with, say, your regular playlist if you want it on in a separate zone by itself. But it's just tailored messaging and topics, whether it's seasonal, whether it's, general information, industry specific. So coming up, we're doing March Madness. We did it last year. A lot of people, reach out to us and really enjoyed having that content out there. So more to come. Watch out for our newsletter. As Darren had mentioned earlier, we're constantly communicating new things available to you guys and resources. And then things like, in case you missed it, that maybe you didn't realize Reach offers it. Going hand in hand with that is the new real-time news options, sports scores. And I added stock feeds in here. I know it doesn't really relate to sports or news, but it's something people aren't aware that those, scrolling stock tickers, or you can have it static. Those are included as well. We just create the feed for you. So just tell us the stock symbols that you want. We can add it right into your layout. Creating FOMO and urgency. So as you can see here with the QR code, scan me. If it's become famous, Instagram hashtags, counters. So, an event coming up. I know I've seen a lot of you guys use it for holidays and things like that. But it's not just, when people think about a counter app, sometimes they just think about it as more safety related and not so much event related. So with our counters, what you can see is it's not just, a separate zone that we can have in there. Again, adding value to kind of your main messaging and rotating that information in there as well. Those counter apps we can stylize for you. And this is something, I'll mention at the end as well, but lean on reach. Our customized layout design services are included. So if you do add in, say, Instagram with a hashtag and use our default template, you'll have kind of those colors and everything. You can stylize it yourself. But also, if you want to reach out to, your account manager or support to get assistance and really coinciding with your branding, that's something you can always do with Reach. So it doesn't cost you anything extra there. And then lastly, with the QR codes too, it's becoming more and more relevant. It's actually a 2024 trend in the industry of using QR codes with a call to action. So we've seen more clients kind of pivot this way instead of using touch screens, because they see the ROI more where they scan it and take it with them versus having a physical screen located in a part of a building. So just something to think about there. And then Warren with the emergency alerts. Oh, went too far. So one thing clients don't realize is that our national weather alerts screen takeover is included. Not just the takeover, but there is a ticker available as well. And what that means is, say if you're using the ticker, if it is a severe weather alert in the local area that it's set up for, it'll automatically take over that zone. On the flip side, you do have the option to do full screen takeover, just like with regular emergency alerts that are proprietary to you. If it's a severe weather alert within your local area or county, it'll take it over as well. So we do have a long list of options that you'd be able to select from, whether you want it from the county, the state, and I believe it's called Zone that they use too. But if you're interested in adding it to your signage, again, just reach out to our team. We can send you more information and or just get it set up for you. What majority of you guys probably use if you're using emergency alerts is your own third party, which is an integration. Now we do hundreds of integrations, and as Darren mentioned, we do a ton of custom integrations still as well. With third-party integrations for emergency alerts, it's just a simple one-time integration fee for that. We'll do testing, ample testing before it goes live, and we'll make sure it is stylized and customized to you as well in terms of the template that message would sit on. All right.
Hey, Kiersten, you asked me to raise my hand, so I'm raising my hand. Just one thing with emergency alerts, I would encourage you guys to do, and this came up for one of our clients. We also, as part of the service, we provide unlimited testing. And so we would encourage anybody that actually has an emergency alert. I mean, Kiersten had the list of them, Rave, Blackboard, Connect, doesn't matter. But we will also do either a biannually, quarterly, whatever rhythm you guys want to do. We will actually do that testing with you just to ensure the feed goes through, or any other testing you want to do as well. And I'm jumping out, Kiersten.
Thank you. I was told he wouldn't jump in, but you know, it always happens. So I told him if he absolutely had to, he has to raise his hand. So moving on here, just to make sure we get through to our to Michelle's portion here, is kind of a did you know in case you missed it. It's kind of a random hodgepodge of things, but again, I just want to make you guys aware that we have these things, and you know what is included with your licensing. So some of the things that have come up over the course of the year, which people didn't realize, from like a CMS management standpoint, again, that the timeline automation options. So if you reference kind of those apps that I referenced earlier, those value add apps, having that flexibility of not just having it in its own zone, but rotating in with your main messaging as well. We see this a lot with clients that want full screen content too, but they don't realize the information they can have cycling through. If they want to shuffle it, they can time it. But the last thing I'd say is when you're adding those in, and if you want it branded or stylized, again, lean on reach. That's something that, you know, is included in your licensing. We're more than happy to help you, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure it's just as quick and easy as possible for you guys to publish down your content while we automate in things for you. The second thing doesn't have anything to do with the timeline options or layouts, but offline notifications. So from an IT perspective, and I know Nate kind of hit on the caching piece that we're working on, but offline notifications is something I tend to find people add in after the fact. So if you're onboarding or adding on new players, it's very easy for us to set that up. So a contact would get an email if a player goes offline, say for over 3 hours, and it can repeat as well to you. But just to make sure you're aware if that player loses a network connection. Again, you can always reach out to our support team for assistance if needed. Otherwise, a lot of times it's just, you know, a reboot of a player, or just, you know, maybe you already know the network's down. Once the network's back up, that player will automatically start running the content again. New solutions and use cases. So kind of hitting on what I talked about last time. Just wanted to highlight one that continues to come up. And a lot of our clients are shifting from not just having the like KPI production metrics on, say, a zone of their display with their regular marketing messaging. They're moving towards having very dedicated KPI and production displays. So whether you are using, say, a Power BI to display your reports and dashboards, your key performance indicators. We've had clients recently use our software for project task boards. And we do a lot of third-party integrations with those KPI software. So if you are interested in learning more, again, reach out to your account rep, your sales rep. We're more than happy to show you just different examples and use cases of how people are utilizing, our software to display their metrics. But there's a lot of different ways that we can go about doing that. The other two I just wanted to mention, there are newer additional solutions that we've released over the last couple of years, or not released, but can run on. So one being website digital signage, where, reaching remote employees. So really embedding that digital signage right into your intranet. You can also use it on your website too. We've seen clients that just have their messaging on their homepage, but it is easy for us to, embed that right into your website. And then secondly, collaboration spaces. So we've had a number of customers that will come to us saying, hey, we have immersive pods. Hey, we use, Barco. Hey, we use Zoom rooms. Can your signage run within that? The answer is yes. So basically, in your account, there's a place that you can utilize digital signage. So we would send you a specific URL that you'd be able to run within those pods. So again, those are both additional solutions. It does require additional licensing for it, but it's an easy way to expand your reach and your digital signage presence and network. And just lastly, lean on the reach team. Again, it's just a reminder, our customized layouts design services are always included. We have unlimited technical support, ongoing end user training, and you have that dedicated account manager as well. The other thing I just want to note is if you aren't subscribed to our newsletters already, let us know. Or if you're not receiving them, there's always great information in there for you. And we also are going to be mentioning in our February newsletter of where we're going to be on the road. So if we're in your area or, we're at a conference that you happen to be attending, we'd love to meet up with you in person. And then we're going to our standard industry conferences as well, like InfoComm and DSC. So just keep an eye out for that. And I will hand it back over to Michelle.
All right, CMS 2.0, just kind of an overall recap here. So I know some of you, like we said earlier, have sort of been part of our beta partners here or beta advisory group and sort of have been exposed to sort of what we've created. But just to do a little recap. So now knowing pain points, we could probably maybe add a couple of things to the list, but just kind of keeping maybe more of the more dominant ones here. But just overall hierarchy within the applications. So there's always just kind of a disconnect, right? Like Reach is great where we have a lot of functionality and we have all these applications, but sometimes it's just unclear of how these applications work together. And so that was kind of one thing when we were rebuilding this CMS, we were like, okay, like we need to kind of fix this and kind of clean that up. Adding content is just too many steps. So love Canva, by the way. They've done a great job sort of building just a really user-friendly tool. And I know a lot of people use Canva to create content. Obviously, there's still people who are using like Adobe products, of course, and simple PowerPoint, right? There's a lot of ways to create content. But if you're using another software to create content, you really just have like a JPEG or a PNG, and you're just kind of quickly trying to apply that to a playlist or more, right? And in the current system, it's just really too many steps to just kind of get from A to B. And so that was really where we did a lot of client research, was to understand like what are all the different workflows. And in the new CMS, everything starts in the playlist and it ends in the playlist. There's no more having to go to the media library, upload there, go to the playlist, do this. We've really kind of just cut out the media library as far as that sort of workflow. And a lot of you will sort of see that as you start to kind of obviously get exposed to the new system. For anyone who uses our announcement editor, obviously to create the content, right, it was just pretty clear that it just wasn't user-friendly. I won't go into detail on it, of course, right, but it was just pretty sort of announced that maybe there was missing functionality, not enough fonts. So what we did, you guys, is we basically kind of threw it in the trash and rewrote a new, what we call a design editor now. It does have some preset templates. We're pulling fonts. You've got hundreds of fonts to use. I mean, it sounds kind of stupid, but there's drop shadow, there's bold, right? There's all these things that you kind of need just to kind of create some good looking slides. The media library, just the consistency of it just taking a little bit to load. And that was probably one of the bigger ones out of anything here, was that it just kind of like took forever, right? And so what we did was we just kind of rewrote the entire back end there. So it just honestly loads in a matter of seconds. And that will be the one thing that you guys will notice the most too. In addition, there's just a need for more management, just more control on your end, where you guys want to create the players, you want to move the players, you want to delete the players, you want to purchase more licenses, you want to see how many licenses are being used, where they're being applied at, you want to create the facilities. Right now, we sort of hold the power to do that. And so what we're really doing is making sure that you guys can leverage and really do that without us. This one I just want to call out too is that I know a lot of you, digital signage is just not your only thing that you do, right? You wear multiple hats in your day-to-day, and digital signage is just one of them. And so we're always going to be here to do whatever you guys want us to do. If you don't have time to create players, we'll create them for you. If you need us to move them or delete them, we'll do it for you. But for the people who want to sort of have that management and just kind of go at their own pace, we're going to give you guys that flexibility to do so. In addition, I know all three presenters have kind of talked about it, but this beta advisory group, so I do want to kind of just touch on that. We are constantly doing client research as we pivot from new application, or not new application, but as we pivot from application to application, as we're looking to implement new features, we're really leaning on our clients to tell us exactly what they need. This really reassures that we feel positive and we feel confident on what we're building, right? And so the development work really sort of decreases because we're just so confident in what we're building, that we can kind of streamline that the unknowns. So anyone who wants to be part of that beta group and wants to sort of help me kind of create a good product, please just email beta@reachmedianetwork.com, and then you'll basically sort of be part of my group. I'll probably set up a quick little call just to get to know who you are and how your organization uses digital signage. All right, some big changes coming. So I'm going to kind of bounce between the PowerPoint and just kind of showing you some mock-ups here, and obviously showing you the CMS. But really what we're introducing you guys is this thing called an admin panel. And every single client or every single company or organization is going to get this admin panel. And the admin panel is like the umbrella. It's like the outer shell of how your organization is going to behave. And so just to kind of give you some real examples here of what I'm referring to, let me just physically show you. All right, so unfortunately you have to see my embarrassing test facility. But all right, so this is kind of the new UI for the per facility here. But really what I want to show you guys in this PowerPoint is this admin panel right here. Now, not everyone is going to have access to the admin panel. So within your organization, you're going to have to determine like who's that owner, or maybe it's multiple. Maybe it's not just one person. Maybe it's multiple people who are going to have access to this organization. But really what this is doing, you guys, it's going to do really a lot of things. So the first part is the dashboard. For anyone who has that little globe in your facility dropdown, you know, when you click on that globe, it really consolidates all your individual facilities and it consolidates all the players in the dashboard. So we're obviously going to keep that. We're going to leverage that, but we want to expand on that. And to be honest with you, when I say expand, it does sound a little vague because we still need to do client research as you as an organization, like what do you want to see? Maybe it's an activity log of when the user logged in and when they added content. Maybe it's an activity log of when maybe players were added. Maybe it's more of like graphs and reports, right? There's a lot of things and fun things we can do with this. But just for that April launch, we're just going to take what we have and just kind of leverage that. On the player application, I'll actually show you a screenshot. It's what the team is kind of currently working on right now. So this is kind of that player management that I did talk about a little bit earlier, where we're going to give you guys control on creating players, moving them, deleting them, really sort of indicating to you guys like, hey, these are how many licenses you have. This is where they're going to apply. This is how many you have available. So really just kind of giving you more of a visual of basically what do you have within the digital signage. And again, just to be clear, we're here to help you, of course, and to do any of the work still for you. Going back here, the account settings. So this one, just as sort of that April launch, is just going to allow you to change the name of your organization and physically upload if you want to be a little bit more on your branding. What I mean by that is maybe you don't want to see the Reach logo. You want to upload your own like company logo, just kind of make that feel a little bit more, you know, I guess branded towards your organization. That's essentially what the account setting is going to be. Eventually, we're going to leverage this a little bit more. So things that we're hearing is more of like policy settings. So just kind of give you guys a couple of examples, of course, to explain it. But we're hearing that some organizations, they may want to hide YouTube from all their users within the organization. There's maybe a need to hide the design editor completely, right? So that will kind of force your individual users to continue with whatever your process is with creating content, whether that's Canva, your approval system. So we're definitely going to leverage that sort of policy. But again, we'll do a little bit more client research to understand exactly what you guys need and how we're going to build that in. The security and privacy part, that's going to be our SSO. So I do have a couple screenshots there. So let me just kind of pull that up. So in today's sort of workflow, you do have to go through, actually me, and the developers to basically configure SSO. And it's not necessarily a long process or anything like that, but you kind of just say why, right? Like we might as well just give you guys, you know, the tools to just, you know, configure your SSO, add your metadata, apply it to your users, right? I mean, you're going to have someone who's an expert there. And so really, we're just going to build this application so that you guys can do it. And really, you don't have to wait on us or essentially our team to figure out that configuration. So here's just kind of another little screenshot there. All right, let me kind of go back. All right, and then the big one here, users and sort of roles and permissions. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint just to kind of bounce here a little bit. This is a big change. So with permissions, one sort of pain point, and I probably could have put it on the first slide here as like a known pain point, but permissions is spread out. It's throughout all the applications, and it's not really user friendly. It's, you have to go to multiple spots to maybe just hide one playlist from somebody. Not only that, but on the current system, you can set permissions on an individual person, or if you put that person in a group, you can set it on a group, and it just kind of causes a lot of chaos, right? So what we're really going to do, you guys, is we're putting permissions under one umbrella. It's under one application. And we're actually going to change the terminology from groups to more of a role base. And so every sort of client is going to have 2 default roles. But of course, you can edit them and you can create your own, you can delete them. But every permission that you assign is going to be on that role base. And I'm just going to show you some UI here just to kind of explain a little bit better. And I'll get into a little bit more detail on this. So as you're seeing here, this is sort of what the UI is essentially going to look like. So we're under sort of a facility 1. The role is called admin, and these are the users that are part of the admin role. Every user that you add to a role is going to get an onboarding email. And so that's our goal here is the onboarding email is just going to be sort of, hey, welcome to Reach. John Smith, the owner, has added you to, facility 1. You have this admin role. Please click here to create your password. So in today's world, we have a lot of people who call us and say, hey, can you create a password for John Smith? And when you kind of take a step back and you do that client research, it's kind of like, why? Like, why am I sending, a password through email? Or why am I calling someone and being like, hey, here's your password. It's 2225. It's not very secured. And we need to do a better job on that. And I think, Nate, you kind of touched on it earlier as well. And so the whole point too with the onboarding is obviously we want your users creating their passwords. But what's great, and Darren, you mentioned as well, is when they go through and click into it, that intercom is going to help train them. It's going to walk them through on the workflow that they should know, obviously based on the role, of course. And that way it will sort of train them, and you don't have to wait for us to kind of like catch up and, find that time to meet with, again, John Smith. Now, again, we're here for training. So if intercom doesn't maybe explain it, again, we're here, we'll train it, we'll do a deep dive, we'll do whatever we need to do to make sure that you and your team are set up for success and know how to use the system. A couple other things with just the role base here. I'm just going to show you one more. All right, and so this is kind of the UI, what I mean when I say it's all under one umbrella. So before you'd have to go to dashboard, you have to go to player, you have to go to layouts. We're really just trying to streamline it and make it a little bit more simple. But of course, we're still adding that level of granular detail. And what I mean by that, you guys, is there are certainly some use cases out there where maybe you want, certain roles to have access to, maybe the players, but you only want them to have access to 2 out of the players instead of 4. Sorry, our mailman's here. So we're going to have that granular detail, and I'll just kind of show you the UI for that as well. And you can see it's just a little bit more easier to manage and maintain. So let me get back out, go back to my PowerPoint. All right, and so as I said, we're going to implement Intercom to help us with that onboarding tool. And then again, of course, the player and licensing management, which will be available for you guys. All right, so roadmap. So as we enter 2023, yes, our team is laser focused on meeting this April deadline. In addition, we're going to make sure that we have this SSO completed. It wasn't really part of our April deadline, just to be honest with you on it. But I feel like because the team is working so well, we actually might hit it. Otherwise, it'll be available just like a month right after that. And along with our advanced layout schedule. We're going to start building integrations in the new CMS as well. So currently today, right, we don't have, we have integrations, right? But you just have to kind of use the CMS 1.0, but we're going to start making sure that you can, configure those in the new CMS. We're also going to implement interruptions via playlists. So this one, I'm just going to take a step back and explain it a little bit more in detail. So a long time ago, we had a feature where people could take a single asset and they could add, and it was technically the terminology was called alert. and they could set the alert on, and whatever that asset was, that would be the only thing running on their playlist. Now, that worked for years, right? But the thing is interruptions, the capability, it grew. So people weren't just looking to fire off, a single welcome screen, or they were looking to fire off live streaming. Like, here's the CEO, here's live streaming. I want to take over all the screens at 11 o'clock. There might have been more like a playlist. So maybe you have your master kind of content, right, running, and corporate wants to come in and blast this playlist to take over the screen between 11 and 12. As mentioned too, welcome screens is obviously a tip, probably a known one as well. But then we also just have some K through 12 schools who really are just trying to blast maybe last minute messaging. And that might be things like, hey, due to snow, all the basketball games are canceled today. And so I don't want to get interruptions confused with emergency alerts, because those are obviously two different things. And Kiersten, you kind of obviously talked about that too with all those third-party integrations. But the goal of this is just to sort of build it because there's a need for it. And we're going to take this and we're going to build it into everything that I just talked about, but we need to have a starting ground. And that starting ground is just implementing it in the playlist, where you can take a single asset and just have it blast for an X amount of time. And then obviously when you physically turn it off, then everything in your playlist will continue to run. That was a long story, but I really wanted to explain that one. The implementing either folders or tags. So we're hearing that maybe folders might be the leading sort of implementation here in the media library. But this is where that client research, and if you're part of that beta advisory group, this is where you get to kind of tell me, which one would you prefer, folders or tags? In our current media library, we do have tags implemented, but when we kind of pull sort of the data, a lot of people aren't using it. Maybe that's just the way it was implemented. Maybe clients are just not really familiar with tags. They like folders. You can see I already have so many questions about it. So again, our roadmap sort of in the spring is to determine the direction we're going to go for that. There's also a need for client research on preset templates and just like ready to go templates. So my terminology might not be the greatest here, but just to explain it a little bit more in detail. As I mentioned, a lot of you are wearing different hats in your day-to-day, and you're not just focusing on digital signage. And so as you're adding content into your playlist, you might just want to have some like filler content that you don't even have to create. You can just say, you know what, I want word of the day. I want a little bit of a life hack. I want some trivia. And that's stuff that we create, right? And so you can just sort of digest that right into your playlist. Your content's running along with stuff that we've created and that we are, maintaining and updating for you. The question is just how do we want to leverage it? What type of content would you want to see? And then there's the preset templates. To me, that's like the design editor, where if, maybe there's a template where you can say, I need to create a social media slide. Instead of starting from the ground up, you can just literally click on social media and just kind of edit. Now, our current design editor, or our new one, I apologize, our new one does have some templates. It's definitely a starting ground. The questions that I have is like, what other categories do our clients want to use and leverage? That way we can make sure that it's there for you guys. And then just to upgrade, obviously all of you guys to the new CMS. I think Darren, you kind of mentioned this. There's no rush. We're not like it's not like a hard cutoff or anything like that. Really after that April launch, if anyone wants to just kind of experiment it, kind of get in there, obviously we'll open that, or we'll make that available for you. But yeah, at some point here, we'll be ready to sort of let you guys know, like, hey, if you guys want to have this upgrade and kind of use it 24/7, here it is. So that's something that was obviously on the roadmap as well. All right, so that was kind of the end of my presentation here on the CMS. So I'm going to kind of open it back up to all of us here. Kiersten, hopefully you've been keeping track of all those questions and can kind of fire it away.
Yeah, there's been some good ones. So the first thing I was going to say is I just put an email in the chat. It's marketing@reachmedianetwork.com. So if you never know who to contact, if you're not sure the right resource here at Reach, if you wanted to be in any of the groups that were discussed, if you don't get the newsletters, anything like that, that's a great sort of default email that you can email, and we'll sort of direct you to the right place. So keep that in your back pocket, I suppose. So anyway, should we kick off questions from the group? All right. The first one that came up was, is there any update on possible Spanish language interface for the online reach portal?
Nate, do you want
I don't
to
know who
jump in
wants
and
to
answer
take
that
that.
one? I know we've been working on, actually, Trevor, thank you for submitting that. Thank you for your partnership. By the way, Trevor's been a great resource up at Finning in Canada over the years. He is a very direct guy, which we love, and he's provided lots of good feedback and recommendations for us over the years. So thank you, Trevor. And Nate, go ahead and take that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just be honest, it's not in the dev roadmap right now. We have looked at what the technological requirement would be around that in terms of building out multiple languages for CMS in a sustainable way. So it's on our minds, but I don't have an ETA for you specifically.
We are doing a specific project for another company. And Michelle, maybe you could talk a little bit about that. Basically, what they wanted is some of our apps to be multilingual as well. And so it's not so much in the CMS of actually people seeing it in Spanish or whatever, but the apps actually generate and show like weather, days of the week, or can really be in a variety of different languages as well. So to sort of go one step further, yes, the CMS is not going to be in Spanish or French or whatever, but the apps actually will have the flexibility or the ability to be in different languages. So they show in, like I said, in French if they want to see the days of the week or the weather and different things as well. And I think, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, that's an early spring kind of timeline to get that done to request by one of our clients as well. Is that right, Michelle?
We're not building that at all. I'm just kidding, guys. I just couldn't help myself. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of start small first, and then just kind of add on, and yeah.
And I would encourage you and anybody else, if you have specific requirements or just recommendations or stuff you need, blast them over to Michelle. Like I mentioned, she keeps a queue of every request, whether it's on our roadmap down the road, but she logs all that stuff and we know. And if we see enough people asking about something, as Nate mentioned, we've started giving it some thought. It hasn't been a huge requirement in terms of our overall CMS, but some clients, especially as we have more international partners, want to see this stuff. And we're definitely working on implementing it in incremental stages. Tristan, welcome. Got your camera
Perfect.
fired up.
I know.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. All right, we'll continue on. So the next question was, for those that have older players, will 2.0 version work correctly, or will they need to update the players to be on the new 2.0?
Yeah, I can field that one. So the CMS changes will have zero impact on how your players operate. So all the content that you have defined, your layouts, your configurations for your player will continue to operate as they always have. And really, I don't. The CMS rewrite is more than window dressing, certainly, but from a player perspective, it really won't have any impact.
The other thing, if your players are really, and I'll say plus 5 years old, some of the players, and I'll just use the old Azules, or the players, the Byte 3s, I think they're going to have 2 gigs of RAM and basically 32 gigs of, and I'm just sort of, Nate, you can jump in, it's 32 gigs of memory. The challenge that we see over time as those players start to load up with the space becomes, as Microsoft 10, 11, they continually take up more of that space. So those players there's nothing we can do about it. They just, Microsoft as the beast continues to take up more space to operate. There's those players. So you may see some slowdowns, you may see some black screen, variety of things. Feel free to get in touch with your account managers to really let them know, here's the issue. We'll try and troubleshoot it, so we don't mind that. But again, that is also where that DS3 player at $199 comes in. So just start thinking, but if it's a budget thing and you realize you have 50 players out there, you can, they're 5 years old, you can assume a percentage of them are going to go down each year. And we're happy to get those out and just sort of get them to you so they're ready to go when the thing goes down.
All right, the next one is in regards to white labeling. So they asked if there was a timeline when white labeling will be available for 2.0.
I can feel that. Yeah, so we're definitely cognizant of the fact that we have resellers or folks who are using white label solution for one reason or another. So that's not going to be in this initial release. Those customers will continue to use the legacy platform. We're cognizant of these changes. And I saw that there were a number of questions sort of around surrounding white label, like in terms of the introductory email, so on and so forth. So I would just sort of lump the response to all those questions in kind of one category of we're aware. We do know of these issues. We will be addressing them over time, and we'll actually be reaching out to those customers in specific to have a more specific conversation around it, to make sure that we're addressing all the concerns or issues before all of a sudden you would see Reach branded content being pushed out to your clients.
Perfect. So the next one was in regards to Canva. So in 2.0, will you have the capability to automatically load videos created in Canva like it does with static images?
Okay, I didn't know who was gonna step in there.
So I think.
Go ahead,
Nate. Michelle. Well, yeah, okay. So that's not on the roadmap, but it should be. So we'll, Michelle, product owner here, I'm sure this probably already taken a note down that we need to dig into that a little bit. Today, the Canva integration supports just the static images. So we'll need to look into the Canva solution to see if and how we can extract video content on a Canva's platform. I can't even say on this call whether that's possible. It kind of depends on what Canva allows us to do or doesn't allow us to do.
All right, the next one was, can we have specific creatives run due to a weather alert? So they gave the example, if there was an alert for lightning and their signage is an aquatics club, that they would want everyone to get out of the water. So would a creative for that announcement be able to run due to a weather alert? Like, would it trigger that?
Yeah, that's not currently.
Good job stumping everybody.
Yeah, it's not currently a capability of the platform. We could definitely take a look at it. So, get that information over to either Tristan or Michelle. We can take a look at what that would take, and sort of understand the larger business picture around how that fits in with our product.
We do have, Kiersten, correct me if I'm wrong, we do have branded templates that are really, you can jump in, Kiersten, go ahead. I owe you one anyway.
Yes, thank you. No, I was going to say, so our free alert application for national weather alerts is pretty simple in nature, right? We want it to work for everybody. We wanted to keep it free for everybody. So kind of the maximum it's going to do are severe weather alerts in your area. Now, if lightning's considered severe in the area, it will show that. But if it's not severe, or maybe it just, lightning strike happened, but it didn't trigger, like national weather alerts hasn't made it that category, it's not going to show up. But to Darren's point with the customization, so basically the alert sits on top of what we call a template, similar to our regular emergency alerts that we'd integrate for you guys. But that background basically can be, a certain color, your fonts, everything. So it's still branded to you. We always say though, less is more for emergency alerts. I would just keep it red background, whatever it is, very big, bold. We don't want to get it to a point where it's the creative piece, because it's supposed to warn, right? So that is the extent of our weather alerts. Tickers, same thing. We can stylize it to match your branding and all of that too. But anything beyond that, definitely reach out to, like Darren said, Tristan, Michelle, or even your account manager if you're talking to them on some of your needs, and we can take a look into that further.
All right, this one is about the schedule text. So they said, for our class schedule text, we would like to include a strike through when a class is canceled. Then they asked if that was possible. Also, if it was possible to have their class schedule text show in a color rather than just black.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to reach out to us, and we can talk to the integration team around how we can make that a possibility. Most things are possible, so definitely be a question to dig into a little bit with the integration team.
All right,
we do have quite a bit of functionality just on how we can control and style a lot of that information as well in our integrations, and sometimes it may be a small little custom piece as well, but we certainly are very capable of doing a lot of cool things when it comes to custom integration. We've just done so many over the years.
All right, next one is, does giving us management mean we can rename the player too?
Yes.
I was gonna
technically you can do it today.
So you can do that today. So definitely reach out to your account manager support. They can show you how to do that and where those fields are moving forward.
One other thing, and this is a feature that's coming in our new CMS 2.0. We actually just discussed it. Somewhere within the platform, we haven't exactly figured out where, you are going to see your dedicated account manager, their name, their email, how to get in touch with them, along with your sales rep. So if you ever need anything, that person is immediately there for you as well, for both the account management and the sales person to help out with whatever these needs. So that's a classic example. Just email in that person; they'd be happy to show you.
Okay. So next one is, if they are already in the beta group, will they stay in it or do they have to sign up again?
Depends if, they're nice, if they're not. No, I'm kidding. No, once you're in the beta group, you're stuck with me, unfortunately. So yeah, no, you don't need to re-sign up or anything like that.
This is not a question, but I thought I would mention there was one vote for folders versus tags. So you can mark that little
I saw the
tally.
greater than. I believe it was the greater
Yes,
than.
there was a lot of reaction to it too in the positive front. So whether we count those as votes too, I'm not sure, but
Free client feedback. I love it.
there we go.
Yeah.
How
That is
would
something
we
that's
go
going to
about?
be implemented, though. That's an exciting feature, and that's one that we did spend some. We obviously want to spend some time to make sure we get it right. As we mentioned, we do have tags today. They kind of get used, they kind of don't. So if it is folders or whatever we choose, we just want you guys to be able to organize your assets in a way that makes sense and is easy for you guys and efficient.
All right. We have a few more here. I know some other ones have been added to the chat. We want to be respectful of people's time too. So if we don't get to them, I will make note of who they are and we can email you directly kind of with a response. So I'm going to wrap up the ones that we've already taken note of. How do you go about designing your own in-house template to be used on the players? Or is that something you can do?
If it's how I think the question is so it's like creating your own template where your own organization can utilize it. Yeah, I have definitely heard that as well. That will live somewhere in the admin panel when we build like this shared center. It's a little bit further down the roadmap, of course, but yes, there's definitely a need for that. I just don't have like a UI or anything like that just yet.
All right, a couple more. Can one of our users try 2.0 interface while the other one sticks to the original interface?
Yeah, absolutely. So how we enable it, it's by per user. So even if you and your team are in the same facility, but you want to test it versus the other person, I just basically enable it for each user. And then there was another question, by the way, I'll just answer it because I think it's kind of related. So when you opt into the new experience, everything you've done in CMS 1.0 carries right over, which is great because hopefully you like the new workflow in CMS 2.0 where you just want to keep kind of using it as your default. Everything you upload in CMS 2.0, right, gets carried over to CMS 0.1. So both of them are talking.
I have two more that I'm going to do, and then we'll address everyone else's specifically in a direct email. So will the multilingual apps automatically be able, or will they be available to everybody, or do we need to request it once they're developed?
It would be available for everybody.
And there'll be communications going on in this as well as we like the new weather radar app, the multilingual announcements about the new CMS 2.0. I will just say one other thing is, Kiersten has one more question, but Michelle will be doing a full sort of hour-long product launch thing and sometime in the March, April timeframe of really walking people through every feature and functionality at a high level and answering questions. It's really a live webinar type scenario specific for CMS. So this is kind of all of us today, but there will be as it gets closer to launch date and we really lock down things. And she showed some great examples today of things that are 3/4 there or 9/10, whatever the number is. But as we get closer to that, she will be having a webinar for everybody that can join and dive in.
Great. And the last one we'll wrap up with, I did make note of everybody's in the chat, so just hang tight, we will get back to you. But is the CMS 2.0 a different web link? Does all of our current content and setup migrate to the new CMS, or does that have to be completely rebuilt?
I feel like maybe I answered that one, but it will
answer it
carry
again,
over.
Michelle.
Yeah, clearly I missed it,
customer.
or I wouldn't have read it again.
No, it's okay. Yeah, everything's gonna carry over. You honestly, like when we upgrade you or whenever you, I guess, want to upgrade, this should be seamless. Like you shouldn't be losing anything. The only thing is your workflow is going to be different and the fact that it's going to be less steps to add content.
Perfect. We do, like I said, I have a list of those questions. We'll be sending out a recording too of this presentation along with the PowerPoint that you guys saw too. So if any other questions you guys think of along the way, you're welcome to email that marketing@reachmedianetwork.com and we'll make sure that that gets addressed. Anything else from the group?
No, we want to thank you guys again for doing this. Michelle, thank you for hosting today. Thank you, presenters. Hopefully everybody liked the information. As Tristan just mentioned, she'll send out links. Any follow-up questions, get in touch with us, and we'd be happy to continue to educate or inform you guys. There's a lot of information to hear today. So again, just feel free to ping us directly if you have other things you want to know about. And when Michelle or Tristan, probably in I guess March, maybe in March, we'll start sending out the communication on the CMS 2.0. The good news about it, if you've heard about it, Michelle and team are with a high confidence level going to deliver this application, and it's a hard date. We feel really comfortable about it. We understand the work. So it is happening in late March and maybe trickle into May at the latest, but it is definitely something that's going to be done, and we're excited to get everybody using it and a part of it as well. Right, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm like sweaty now. Way to put the pressure on.
This is a recording, okay? This is something we can all reference back if it doesn't happen. Thank you, developers, as well, those who are on the call and not working. We're excited to get your stuff out there. Like that, Nate? You like how I slid that in, buddy? Nate's equally as accountable, so this is great.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Appreciate
everyone.
everybody's time. Take care. Talk soon.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.